Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Entrepreneurial Marketing, Getting to Market. The cash burn problem. What is the cash burn problem? Well, actually, I said before, you have to learn first and then you can communicate. If you don't do that, you might run into the cash burn problem. And it's the following. Well, start with an example first, Boo.com. And this is a quote from 2000, so the story is a little old, but the quote was these days, unless we raise 20 million by midnight, Boo.com is dead. Why can't things like that happen? Well, Boo.com was a fashion company and they were selling fashion and they were to some extent successful. However, they were burning a lot of money. Spending it without success. And this is the cash burn problem I was talking to because this company actually spent money and they didn't know what the payback is, how they get the money back from the customer. And this is the cash burn problem. Cash burn problem results from three aspects. The first is, and this was also the Boo.com example, you have enough money. You have sufficient funds, especially if you're venture capital backed. Venture capitalists love to give you money because they have it. Actually, they do not only have the money, they also have a focus on growth. Because only if a company grows tremendously, it can be the 1 out of 10 that is bringing the fund returns for a VC. So they put a high pressure to grow on these entrepreneurs. And even if you need more money, they have sufficient funds in order to provide more. The problem starts if you do not have a good understanding of the business economics. So that lack of understanding, that pushes you into the cash burn problem. And this cash burn problem arises especially if you didn't understand your target group and the reason why enough and start spending on communication. So it's fully associated with what we said before. First is the understanding and the learning, and then is the spending. If you don't do that, you will exactly run into this one. And this is also a good reason why it makes sense to maybe work with other investors in that learning phase than the investors you work with when you scale up. Venture capital is great for scaling up. Venture capital might not help you in your learning phase, might add negative value, like what Vineyard Koshler said. And it's exactly about that. So a company has to maintain the balance between the pace of growth on the one side and the understanding, especially the metrics underlying the products and the services. And what is a good example for the metrics? Well, if you start an internet business, for example, you have to look basically on two things. And this is where the cash burn problem is resulting out of. Is on the one hand, the customer acquisition cost. So what do I have to pay for each and an individual customer? And you have to reduce customer acquisition costs. How can you reduce customer acquisition costs? Find the right channels, find the right messages. So it's all about learning again. And the other is revenues per customer. How much money, or what is your turnover, and how much money can you earn from each individual customer? So what's the number of purchases? What is the average shopping cart? How often do they come back? And so on. And if you're able to balance those, if you're actually able to learn on those in order to bring it to the balance, then you get the understanding of your business. If you have an understanding there, at least have an understanding how you might be able to reduce customer acquisition costs by knowing the customer better and having the right messages and driving the revenues of a customer, then you can also scale up. But again, it's first of all, it's on learning and then it's on spending. And the cash burn problem is when you don't learn enough and start spending.